What's happening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? We are live, ready to talk a little NBA DFS for the 10th of February. We'll do a better job tonight of not picking guys that get hurt and leave the game, as we got two of those last night.
Yeah, Cole Anthony was a tough one. I saw him take the charge from Robert Covington. I don't know if you saw that. I think that's might have what gotten him hurt. I don't know if I didn't look into it more. How about you?
I know when he was grimacing over on the sideline towards the end of the second quarter and he was out, and Magic announcers were saying, I hope he can come back in the game. I'm like, bro, he ain't coming back in the game. That's his shooting arm. He's not coming back. That shoulder's a little bit jacked up right now.
Yep.
So you knew it. That is the hard part about NBA DFS. I told you it started the night with everything smashed and things were looking really pretty. But I had a bunch of Cole Anthony, and when he doesn't play, I was happy just to barely make my money back plus a few extra bucks. That was about it. But it is what it is. We've all been on all sides of the equation on this one before. It's an up and down game if there's ever been one.
No doubt about it.
So today's show is sponsored by our friends over at Jazz Sportsbook, guys. So we've been talking about them a lot lately. We are now partnered up with them in the world of sports betting. You guys have heard us talk about this a lot more over the last couple of days, and there's plenty more to come in the world of sports betting as we dive into it, make this a little bit larger part of our repertoire on a daily basis. So if you want to sign up for Jazz Sports, there's a lot of reasons to do so, not of which is short for today. Today's special for anybody who signs up, uses our promo code of 5-pack or the link in the comments section. Let me know, and I will hook you up with an NBA-only package for the rest of the season. One of our boys, Antonio, who signed up over there, was raving about the customer service, so they were very friendly and helpful. You just go there for the promotional code. It is 5-pack, and some of the reasons you might want to try to take a look at them. Over 20 years of being in service, they've been there, they've done that, they've been around. Very low rollover bonuses, which would include 150% of a free play bonus if you mention the 5-pack promo code. Easy payout with several different options. You have the ability to watch your favorite games live through Jazz TV feature, and they have same-day payouts. So just a variety of reasons to give them a whirl.
Yeah, ton of reasons. It's a great book, so check them out.
All right, guys. As far as the monthly customers go, guys, we've been bringing this up, and I just want to make sure we continue to mention it because things are changing. On Monday next week, we're going to have a conversion. There's going to be a subtle bump in the price for monthly customers. If you sign up, though, and you're active, you get to stay active with the current price, which is $30 a month. Sign up today, and not only do you get the lower price, I will also send you a $20 rebate today for all new monthly customers. So it's a great day to join the 5-pack. The link to the website is below. Let's talk about cash games and GPP plays. Let's talk about one of my favorites, cover boy for the day, former Milwaukee Buck, Malcolm Brogdon. So, I'm not sneaking up on anybody when I tell you guys the Nets defense is trash. It's just not good. They have a ways to go for it to be good, even if they're capable of playing well. My boys still on right, Mason Plumlee, Grant, they were all eating like kings last night as they got into the paint at will. You saw the Nets take timeout after timeout, get together and try to yell at DeAndre Jordan to figure out what they can do better. I'm sure the effort might be there tonight. They're just not capable of being a great defensive team as currently constructed. They've had guys in and out of the lineup all year. They've got a bunch of new pieces. Most of these guys weren't good at defense to begin with, so it's a building process, not something that they can flip the script on overnight. Not saying you won't get a better effort today. Just saying I don't think they're very capable of being a good defensive team until they get more team continuity. It is hard. You can't just flip the script like that if you don't have good defensive players. Even though the effort might be better tonight, they don't have the bodies to be good at defense. Malcolm Brogdon does things that they're not capable of defending, which is get into the lane at will and shoot very effectively from the three-point line. So his price is low. He's one of those guys that he had a variety of bad games recently for a couple of different reasons, which has given him a price bump down to 7,400, which is not just low for him to begin with. It's low for him based on tonight's crush spot. Everybody gets up to play the Nets because they have guys like Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant and James Harden, guys that people like to try to give it to, so you get team's best effort.
Yeah, just a ton to like here. I mean, he's about as low as he's going to be all year. He'll probably never be lower than this. He's in one of the best spots he could be in, so it all adds up to making him just a smash play. I mean, at this point, it's no secret that picking on the Nets is probably a good idea. Get up spot for all the other teams. You catch them on a second half of a back-to-back. Indiana has been reeling a little bit lately, so expect them to play well here. I mean, if you're just making one lineup, an optimal line tonight, he's one of the best plays, if not the best play on paper tonight.
I love getting guys like this that are too cheap because, he's had some bad games recently. They played the Red Hot Pelicans the other day. The Pelicans played really well. The Pacers did not. And then in the fourth quarter, things got weird. The second unit of the Pacers played really well, brought them back into the game. So Brogdon had a trash game, had a bad game against Utah. So what? A lot of people have bad games against Utah. This is a great opportunity to take advantage of this dirt cheap price.
No doubt.
Speaking of the Red Hot Pelicans, your boy Zion, that was about as aggressive as I've ever seen him play last night in that game against the Rockets. You guys know that I really liked the Pelicans-Rockets game to have a low total in the first quarter based on the sports betting play. So I watched this one very closely because I had some skin in the game. And Zion was uber aggressive early. Now, the downside of that is my man picked up some foul trouble and is why his minutes were down. He picked up two quickly and then got the third one really quickly. But from a points per minute standpoint, that might have been the best game he's played from an NBA.
Yeah, it might have been, and I love him coming right back tonight against the Bulls team that just gets eaten alive inside. We saw what Vucevic did to them the other night. Another guy that doesn't usually have monster upside. Vucevic might have had the best game of his career against the same Bulls team last week. You got Zion in the same spot. I love him here. You mentioned Sabonis. He's going to be, Sabonis, like we talked about with Brogdon. It's hard not to like Sabonis here. You could play Zion with Sabonis, no problem. Or as a pivot, I think he makes a ton of sense. He's basically the same price. I love, you mentioned it, the aggressiveness he played with last night. And in a much better spot tonight, just a much better spot overall. I just think he's going to get overlooked. And again, not a guy that usually has big GPP upside, but I'm calling a 50-plus game tonight.
So I think a nice point to bring up right there for people who maybe don't watch these NBA games as closely as we do. Again, I mentioned I liked the under in that game yesterday. It was very fortunate for me that Zion probably left in the first quarter with some foul trouble. I didn't have any control over that, getting a little lucky in a situation like that. I had a lineup that was crushing, but it had Cole Anthony. He got hurt. On any given day, there is a lot of luck involved in anything in the world of like DFS and sports betting. And you got to take the goods with the bads. And remember that maybe, you got fortunate when a guy like this picked up his second foul. So just ride the ups and downs and the ebb and flow. Don't let your highs get high and your lows get too low.
No doubt about it.
All right, next up, KHRIS Money Middleton. So I'm going to start with my boy here from the Milwaukee Bucks, KHRIS Middleton, why we like him. Also, why I think he's a GPP only guy. And what I mean by that is there is a lot of crush plays on this slate. And I got a bunch of other guys within this price range, one of them we already mentioned, that I think are better cash game plays. But we wanted to talk him out. I like him a lot for GPPs today. And you being an only GPP player are kind of on board this one as well. So there's a variety of reasons working for him. One, no Drew Holiday. That's big. Well, and some people are like, well, doesn't that make you want to play the point guard instead? The Bucks don't really have a natural point guard right now. Then you're going to see Bryn Forbes and DJ Augustine take some point guard minutes. But the most likely thing is what's going to happen right here is guys like KHRIS Middleton, who's averaging a career high 6 assists this year because they're running the offense through him a lot more, get increased usage within the offense. It's no longer a big three, it's a big two. It's Giannis and KHRIS Middleton right now. Brook Lopez will be in there getting his rebounds and shooting his threes, but these are the guys who are going to be forced to create the majority of the offense tonight. Even Bryn Forbes is more of a catch and shoot guy than he is an actual true point guard. It has been a Bucks game plan throughout the season. One of the reasons we saw them struggle early and while they're playing hot now is, one, they had a lot of new pieces to acclimate. Also, they are trying to give KHRIS Middleton a bigger role on the offense. Why? Because when it comes to the postseason, my boy Giannis, as much as I love him, you don't play as much fast break offense in the postseason. Middleton is an excellent half-court player, but they want to give him almost more of that 1A role. That is why he's averaging more assists than he's ever averaged in his career. He's got the ball in his hand a lot. And without Drew Holiday there tonight, this just means Middleton's going to be creating more of the offense. The assistant coach of the Phoenix Suns, Joe Prutney, used to be the interim head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. He knows Giannis very well. And we've watched over the last couple of seasons, he has done a superb job of setting up Phoenix in a way to defend Giannis Antetokounmpo, making his life difficult. Just another feather in cap, and one of the reasons I like KHRIS Middleton at what I can only prognosticate will be very low ownership today.
Yeah, and on many slates, you think he'd get a lot of love here. Again, no Drew Holiday, coming off one of the best games he's played all year, if not the best game he's played all year. Just a ton to like here. All your points. I think that, we've talked about it a lot. He's a guy that Milwaukee wants to have the ball in his hands at the end of the game. I think this game is very competitive. Phoenix is a different team with Chris Paul is out, so watch for that news. They're much more apt to, play a faster pace. We've seen that with Chris Paul teams, throughout his career. They're more than content with slowing it down, playing that half-court style offense. Well, without him, Phoenix is much more likely to run and gun it. And basically, I think Middleton is game script proof. I think he's got monster upside here. Kind of like Zion in that he doesn't show upside a ton, but he's coming off a big upside game, without Drew Holiday. And I think no Holiday means a lot more for Middleton than people think.
Yes, I think that is a great, and I know we've talked about these types of plays for years. When Holiday leaves, because of tonight's loaded slate, people aren't going to be looking at Bryn Forbes and DJ Augustine. They think, oh, this other guy will come in and fill in. No, what happens is the other good players just take on a slightly larger role. And then you're not missing Holiday for the year. You're just missing Holiday for a couple of games while he goes through the COVID protocols.
Exactly.
All right, next up, let's move into long shots of the day. And let me talk about a guy named ZUBAC, who is currently projected for 0.2% ownership. So, we say long shots can mean a variety of different things. You can pick a stud who's not a long shot to play big minutes, but he's a long shot based on low ownership for the day. ZUBAC appears by all forms to be very, very low owned tonight in a true long shot. So you pointed this out the other day. And now that I've been watching it a little bit closer, Minnesota gets more things blocked than a creepy guy on Twitter. Just another way to get massive DFS points is to throw in some of those peripherals outside of just the points and the rebounds. They get a lot of shots blocked. Zubac has been seeing more run lately. Serge Ibaka, for my money, is the better player at center. But as an elder statesman and a guy that you can kind of feel confident and ready to come run playoff time, I think Zubac is still a work in progress. So it's good in regular season games. If you can get him more run and just get him more of an up and running kind of a two-head horse at the center position, so that come playoff time for a team that has championship aspirations, he continues to develop his game. No Paul George tonight, just one less body in there to, take shots and everything like that. I think this is definitely a true long shot. I think he's very low owned, but we've seen him recently with a couple of really nice GPP games.
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, he's starting to get more run. And in the off chance that this game gets out of hand, he's going to get all that blowout run. He's got 5+ block upside in this spot. I really, really like him in tournaments at very low ownership. The risk is pretty minimal at 5,100. You saw him play. I watched a lot of that Clippers-Kings game. He played really well in that game. Very close game, a game they were trailing. He looked better than Ibaka for much of that game. I said this to you when you brought him up on the public video. I like him a lot here. I was looking at him last night when I popped open the slate.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy that, if you run a 3-entry max, try to get him in one of those.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. Definitely.
You're not going to get major ownership right here. I struggle to see him over 5%. And 0.2 might be low, only because his game log over the last 3 games has a couple of big ones in there. But he's going to be single digits.
I agree.
So, all right, next up, we're going to move over to a guy from the Lakers who's your long shot of the day. And, let's keep it real. It's better if AD is out. And as far as AD playing tonight, I think unless things have changed since I last checked Twitter, I have absolutely no idea if he's playing, not playing. It would seem like a good day. You might as well get him healthy because you're playing a beat-up OKC team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We don't know. Him and LeBron are questionable probably every day. The one reason that you could say maybe he doesn't play is he just missed the last game. He's questionable while LeBron is probable. I don't know. Maybe that means something. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I'm going to say it because I hope he's out because I really like Schroeder here. I like Schroeder no matter what. I love Schroeder if AD's out. I used him last game, with the news that Davis was out, and he only had 5 DK points at halftime. Fell asleep thinking he wasn't going to be much and I wasn't going to cash. Woke up to see him have 35 DK points in the second half. Obviously, he played really, really well there. Game went to overtime, and he played those minutes, but he only got 3 or 4 DK points in those minutes. It was a very slow overtime. Not much was done. I really like going right back to Schroeder here. Big usage upgrade if Davis is out. I mentioned this on our members only video. He has the ball in his hands a ton when LeBron's off the court, when Davis is out. So again, hoping that AD doesn't play here. But again, I think Schroeder's a rock solid look regardless. Of course, I wish he was, 5,200 here, a little bit cheaper, but I'm thinking about it kind of the reverse of something we mentioned on our members only video and talking about Michael Porter Jr. He's the opposite here. Michael Porter's 5,700. Would we really be looking there at 6,100? If not, you don't really like him at 5,700. Well, for me, for Schroeder, I'd really like him at 5,700. So why am I going to get off him just because he's a couple hundred more?
I do think that's, as an overall standpoint from the world of DFS, I think that's a great point. And you see people make bad plays all the time because there's some guy's $300 cheaper than he was the slate before. I'm like, but he's not in a good spot. Like, we know that there are matchup bases in the world of the NBA. Why are you going to play somebody in a bad spot because they're 7,900 opposed to 8,200? We're talking about the difference of like one bucket. You know what I mean? Like, don't. It's like if you went to the store to buy a coffee maker. You know what I mean? Like, and it was $29.99, but you didn't like it, but the other one was like $33.99. It's not that big of a difference, right? Like, get what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, I thought you were going to go, like, if you went to the store to buy a coffee maker, $30, but you saw a juicer for $26, like, it still doesn't make sense to get the juicer just because it's a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, I wanted coffee. I wanted caffeine, not sugar.
Exactly. So I really thought about that when you mentioned it about Porter. It was like the opposite for Schroeder, because I get it. He's a little bit more expensive. Might take him out from being like any sort of optimal play, but that $500 is just not going to take me off him.
Yeah, exactly. There are these teams in the NBA. I mean, I know all you guys know this, but these teams are different. Some teams like to play no defense and move fast. It's why we pick on the Nets. It's why we pick on the Wizards, because I don't know, like Jimmy Butler, or other guys or whatever, you want them to have more possessions. Pick whatever guy you're thinking of, more possessions against bad defense. And that can be the difference between being a good play at like 9,500 and 8K versus just because some guy's $300. He's still like, he had to play like a full strength Clippers team. It's like a 14-point non-favorite or whatever it might be.
For sure. No doubt about it.
All right, guys. Good luck today.
Thanks.